What's going on, everybody? So my name is D.
I'm Lauren.
And so you guys have probably seen us in some of the other videos we've been doing. So the book I've been reading, actually I was reading it last month, but see if you can see it, but it's called Contagious. It's talking about why things catch on. It talks about why things go viral. The topic that I want to share about today is like, a lot of us have friends, or you might have kids or family members, and it's like they're doing something that you might feel is bad for their health or bad for them in general, or just something that's negative that you don't want them to do, but you're like, I've talked to them, I've explained to them, I keep telling them why it's wrong, but they keep doing it. They're talking about getting kids to not do drugs, right? That's a lot of like topic that people talk about, or parents. They're like, what do I do? How do I handle this? And like the way most people go about this is like, they'll tell kids, like, they have all these anti-drug commercials where it's like, there's like the old school like Dare commercials. Like when we were growing up, they always told us, when you get older, like so many people are gonna offer you drugs all the time, and so like you need to learn how to say no. And then like all the commercials, it's like a kid that's always getting approached with like drugs and stuff, and then they'll tell you, man, all the kids at school and a lot of people around the world are doing drugs to try to be cool, right? So what happens is like a lot of these kids, they would never even have thought about doing drugs, but now you introduce it to them, and not only did you introduce it to them, but you made it seem as though everyone's doing it, and that the people that are doing it are the cool kids. Because you're like, everyone's doing it and they're doing it to be cool. So now you're like, hey, I never even knew about this marijuana thing, but my friends are doing it and they're doing it to be cool. Like, I want to be cool, so like, let me try it. And so they're like, when you want someone to not do something, you can't focus on what everyone's doing. So if you want them to do something that everyone's doing, you focus on it and say, hey, this is what everyone's doing. If you don't want them to do something, you have to focus on like the opposite. So you can't, to not get someone to do drugs, you can't be like, everybody's doing it, so you shouldn't, because that's not how it works.
Should you just hit them with like facts instead of like why they shouldn't do it?
Yeah, so that's what they were basically talking in the book. Like, they say this is some reasons like why you shouldn't, and these are reasons why people don't. Like, it could break up your home, or it could do this, or it could do that. Like reasons, logical reasons. And that way people can see it and they're like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. But if you try to back it up with like, oh, everyone's doing this, or oh, everybody, like if you hear someone say, oh, everybody on the highway drives 5 miles over the speed limit, like everyone's doing it, like that's gonna make me feel like, well, like I don't want to be like, no one else is getting pulled over, why am I gonna be driving 70 and y'all are driving 76? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, we're always trying to point out what everyone else is doing. And to kids, to younger people, it makes us seem like, or I guess everybody in general, when you point it out like that, it's like, well, if everybody else is doing it, it must be some, you know, like good.
Something about it.
Yeah, there's something about it. So we need to be cautious of how we go about that. So I guess my question would be, how do you guys feel about that? How do you go about handling, whether it be kids or your spouse or your relative, on not getting them to do something, whether it be negative or something that you feel like is not good for them? How do you get them to not do it? And that comes from the book Contagious. So
my book that I'm reading, I just started it, is called She Is Free. You can see it. In this chapter that I was reading, it talks about chaos and real love. So knowing your emotions, like your heart is your responsibility. The way you act, your emotions, how you handle situations is a direct reflection of the condition of your heart. Like, you feel yourself getting hot, you know, you're angry, you're upset, like your blood is boiling, the veins in your neck start popping out, and you want to have this reaction towards this coworker, when in all reality it probably wasn't something huge, but for some reason you feel like you're being attacked. That reaction, that emotion, that response is a lie that's directly being uncovered. So basically, if we cultivate an awareness of our emotions, then we'll be able to narrow down the disconnect. The correct way to, I guess, address it is to take some time to, first of all, be aware of it, and then second of all, you know, let God into your life to uncover those lies. It's just important to be able to catch on to those things, and it's hard work, honestly. Like, you have to constantly be checking yourself and checking your thoughts and your heart and the condition that it's in. But I think once you can build a habit of doing it for yourself, like you'll be able to master that, you know, inner peace, you know, that you're just so unbothered, that nothing could faze you because you know the truth of who you are and whose you are, and you'll be able to deal with outside stimuli.
Pettiness, outside pettiness.
I couldn't think of the word.
Outside
but anyway,
pettiness.
you get what I mean. So if I'm going to pose a question, I guess it would be, I wasn't planning to,
but you are now.
Since we are, have you ever found yourself in a situation like that? Maybe not with your coworker, but maybe with your spouse or your kids or your parents. You know, you find yourself where you're just easily bothered, or all of a sudden you feel angry and you feel that they're attacking you in some way. Have you ever felt like that?
What's the most recent time? We know you have.
So I guess within the last week we can say.
What's the most recent time you got extra petty?
I mean, it's just like, so if that's your reaction, now you know it's not the correct response. So dig a little deeper and see where that might be coming from. Why are you feeling that way? And then you can move forward.
Our goal right now is to pour as much of ourselves out to others and just offer advice or help and hopefully receive some back. And it's like we grow with each other over time. And that way, videos and months and weeks and years from now, it's like we're all better people and not just more entertained. Hopefully we see you guys out in person, and I think it will really put a smile on our face and on yours if it's not just about the video or about the food that we show you guys, but it's about the meaning and the value that we're providing.